NFL Divisional round of the playoffs is here. Man, y'all, we only got like a few weeks of football left total. Sorry to keep
Sad.
reminding everyone.
Yeah,
Eric,
every week.
Yeah, that's how I know you're a pessimist at heart. Is every week you're like, well, the end is nigh.
And you started like, I don't know, 12 weeks ago when we were like a quarter of the way through in the college football season.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah.
Glass is half empty most of the time with me. That is facts. All right. We're going to dive right into this.
Albuquerque?
Yes, it's part of living in this town. We're going to dive right in. We have a lot of picks and games to get through for the NFL. Go check out the college football episode. We're covering just the championship game, which should be a much shorter episode. So we are excited to record that right after this, but both should be posted around the same time. Let's, for now, though, dive into the NFL. We're just going to go game by game. Why don't you all just tell me, though, what's your most exciting game of the weekend is?
Dude, I'm going to say, like, I want to say Baltimore, Buffalo.
It should
but
be.
I actually think it's actually Washington and Detroit for me.
Mhm.
I think Jaden Daniels is about to show up again. And I think that the Lions secondary has been way too susceptible for this line to be at 9.5. So I'm excited to see how legit Jaden Daniels can actually be another week in a row here in a big game.
Yeah, what about you, Stefan?
No, my Ravens, baby. My Ravens, of course. It's a tough game at the Bills. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough.
I'm excited for this Rams-Eagles game, honestly. You notice that none of us care about Kansas City, Houston, because everyone's like, whatever.
Because fuck Kansas City?
Yeah, no one cares. No one cares. Everyone hates Kansas City. Like, there's no competition until the next round, so whatever. Whatever. Let's move on. Let's start with that Kansas City Texans game. Man, I don't really have any pick. Like, we have one, like, half a pick on this game, which we'll let Mike get into in a second. I just feel like every year I will not bet. You will not see me bet against the Chiefs on this show from now until they win the Super Bowl, if that happens. So you won't see me because I will lose money every time. However, I will say even the Patriots just had some head scratcher playoff losses in their dynasty run. And I feel like Kansas City is just due for like a wait, who did they lose to like type of game in the playoffs. And that's all I got for analysis on this game. And it's probably not going to happen. I don't think it's the Texans. Most people didn't think the Texans were going to win last week.
No.
So I don't really have a lot of great thoughts on this game, except for like, man, can we just get like a head scratching loss for them once in this like dynasty run they're on?
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see how this game ends up playing out. You know, we've all been kind of scratching our heads against Kansas City the whole year of like, how in the hell are they still winning as bad as they're playing? But I mean, Kansas City does it every year, man. They figure out a way that by, the first round of the playoffs, they are back in dynasty mode.
Yep.
And they're at home, it's 25 degrees where they're happy and Houston's having to come freeze their asses off. Like, I don't know. And even Houston last week, I think it was more about the Chargers playing bad than it was about Houston really like actually outperforming themselves. It was neck and neck until they had those two turnovers. Was it like the third quarter or something like that where Houston actually started to run away with it? So I'm kind of curious to see if Kansas City is as bad as they've been all year or if they are back in true dynasty mode in this game. But that's why I'm staying off of it aside from teasing it way down.
Yeah, why don't you give us your pick for this one? And at least you have a half a pick, a leg, and then we'll get to the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas City team total over 20.5. They've hit this number pretty consistently over the back half of the season, especially once they got Hollywood Brown back. Hopkins is on the other side of the ball now. Pacheco's back in the lineup. I'm kind of wondering if they've been saving Pacheco more for the playoffs and kind of because I think his snap share was only like 35% of snaps after he came back. And Kareem Hunt's efficiency is just terrible. So you got to think that they're just saving him for the playoffs. So I could see them coming out and tearing this up, but even in their bad games, They only didn't score 21 or more points 4 times all season, and 3 of those came within like the first 5 weeks of the year. So this feels pretty consistent with what they've been doing over the last 9-10 weeks. And I just fully expect Mahomes and company to show up and do their thing here. So yeah, over 20.5 there's for that leg.
Agreed. I don't hate it. I don't see why they don't just beat up on the Texans a little bit here. But yeah, with that being said, no one cares about this game. Sorry, Chiefs fans. Go listen to a different podcast. I'm willing to lose that corner of our listenership. All right. Moving on to the second game on Saturday, one that we have many more picks for, which is the Commanders at the Lions. I'll go ahead and kick us off here. I actually have a Lions pick here that's not for the game. I'm going to take the Lions to win the NFC at plus 100. So the Lions to make the Super Bowl at plus 100. We did a little of the math today. If you were to try to bet, if you were to try to bet the Lions money line the next 2 games, you likely would not get this value. And I don't think anyone is stopping the Lions. I don't think the Eagles are coming in to Detroit to win this game. I have a strong opinion that I did not end up betting the spread, but I do think that the Commanders exceeded expectations and they've already won their Super Bowl. They've dumped the Gatorade, as you'll hear us say. I think they're done. And it's going to be quite the whooping I think the Lions are going to put on the Commanders this weekend. That's my take. What about y'all?
I like Mike's take a lot better. I hope he's right, not you, because that would be a lot more entertaining to see Jaden Daniels go off. But I'm staying off this game because I could see it being really scrappy. I could see a lot of different outcomes. I don't really see an outcome of like a Washington winning enough times that I would have play that money line. Yep. To me, I can't play. I don't see what's going to happen. This Mikey shared our record so far on the season for NFL and college and all that. And my NFL picks have just been sucking other than the player props. So I'm just going to avoid. When I don't have a strong feeling, I'm going to avoid. So nothing for me.
That's fair. Mike, what about you?
I could see this one being a little bit more of a shootout, to be honest. You look back
the number is 55. So yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, this is what this one in the Buffalo game, like, I kind of toyed with taking the long shot at the over, but I mean, you look back at Detroit's schedule after the secondary got so banged up. Josh Allen threw for, I think it was 360. Caleb Williams threw for 350 plus, and Brock Purdy threw for 380. So when you've got Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy tearing you apart, as bad as San Francisco's offense was all season, like, now you've got Jaden Daniels coming in looking better than he has all season. Brian Robinson has kind of shit the bed, and they've really had to rely more on Jaden Daniels' arm lately. So as bad as the Detroit secondary has been, I could see this one being a shootout and coming down to, the last drive. I don't think there's a chance the Commanders win. I do think there's a very good chance that they cover, but I don't feel strongly enough about it that I'm taking the pick.
It's a tough number. It's a tough number either way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a couple props we'll get to here in a bit, but as a whole, I'm really excited about this game.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to the third game. This is the first game on Sunday, however, the early game. We got the Rams going to Philadelphia. So play
your Rams.
My Rams going to Philadelphia. I'm reclaiming them this week.
They were given to me.
I'm not picking. Yeah, it's true. I'm not picking them to win or anything like that. I am, however, going to take the over in this game, over 43.5. I feel like the Rams offense has come on. You'll see a receiver that I like for the Rams on the next slide. I know the Eagles have a really good secondary. However, the last time these two teams played was Thanksgiving week, and it was 37-20. 37-20. The score is 57. I realize that that's not predictive of what will happen in this game. However, I think the Rams defense is bad enough that the Eagles put up close to 30 and then give me a couple touchdowns for the Rams and we call it a day and hit this over. That's it. That's my reasoning. Stefan, you don't necessarily not. We're not have opposite picks, but you at least don't like the first half. Why don't you?
I mean, they're not great correlated plays, that's for sure. But I like the under 21.5 for the first half combined team totals. I just think the weather, the nerves, Jalen Hurts' injury, I think this game could get off to a little bit slower start. Sean McVay, as an underdog, usually likes to play the first half pretty close to the chest. So I could see the Rams trying to slow the game down. I'll be honest, I really was hoping this was going to be at a touchdown because I really wanted the Rams plus like 7 or plus 7.5. Man, if they dangled 7.5 out there, they would be taking all of my money if the Rams couldn't do it. Because I do lean the Rams to kind of surprise people a little bit. I'm excited for this game. I think it may not be the most enjoyable to watch from like a beautiful offensive execution. So that's why I'm on that first half under. I think, though, kind of like that Houston game last week that we're talking about, it could start rolling late, and then all of a sudden that over still ends up hitting, even though you went into halftime, 10-7 or something like that.
Yeah, Mike, you have a different take on this game.
I do.
And, you like the Eagles.
I do like the Eagles. I'm looking at what to follow Stef's thought there, what the highest scoring second half number is real quick.
What while you're looking at that, let me just say Mike is doing quite well. So the fact that I'm leaning Rams and you're on the Eagles, I want everyone to stop what you're doing. Take the Eagles -6 right now because it's gonna move.
Do not put that bad juju on me, man.
Rams.
You can get, if you want to follow your train of thought there, you can get the highest scoring second half at -110 right now.
Okay, yeah.
No, I just think that this Philly defense is going to overwhelm Matthew Stafford. I think the Rams right now, when you cannot force feed Puka Nacua, they're going to fall apart. Kyron Williams, don't get me wrong, he's a stud. Let's call it what it is, but he's only averaging, I think it was just shy of 4 yards a carry, and they haven't played a defensive front like Philly has in a while. Stafford's all but kind of forgotten about Cooper Kupp at this point. You kind of saw him do the little handshake walking into the locker room last week saying, hey, I'll get you the ball. And I think he had one target in the second half and finished the game with that one catch. So I don't even, they'll blanket Nacua. I don't know if Kupp's going to carry him. I don't think Kyron's going to be able to do enough. I just don't see the Rams being able to attack you from as many areas as you're going to have to beat this defense. They're number 1 in the NFL against the pass, and I think number 9 against the run. Yeah. So I just think the Eagles are a better team at home. Playing in Philly is very challenging. But I mean, it's a strong point. I mean, you've got the vet and Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. And I texted you guys last week during the game. I was like, if they play like this next week, I think they win. I just don't know if they're going to be able to come out with that level of execution 2 weeks in a row on the road outside in the freezing cold. So with that, my second leg of that parlay is Eagles -2.5. So that with the KC team total over gets you at +103. And I'm also taking the Eagles -6 on the game as a separate pick as well.
Love it. Let's move on to our last game of the weekend. We have Ravens at Bills. I'll get us kicked off, man. I just think the Bills are going to win this game. Sorry, Stefan, to your Ravens. It's not because I don't want the Ravens. It's not because I don't want the Ravens. I just think Josh Allen's arm takes over this game, and I think that Ravens secondary's garbage. And I think it's going to be hard, man. I think it's going to be tough if Zay Flowers is out again. I just think the Bills have that crazy home field advantage. Bills Mafia, it's going to be freezing cold, and Josh Allen's going to sling it around like he has been all year. The Bills have been consistently good the last 2/3 of this season, and I think that they will take care of business against the Ravens.
I agree, and with this line moving since it came out to where the Bills are now home dogs, I just expect Josh Allen to come out with a chip on his shoulder. I feel like the
home dogs. What?
Yeah, dude. The public
What?
has just gone so hard on Buffalo over the last week. Not Buffalo, Baltimore. And I understand why, right? Like it's seeing what Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry have been able to do together has been wild. But I'm with you. I just think them being at home is going to push them over the edge. I feel like this game could very easily kind of turn into that the Baltimore Kansas City game a couple of years ago, and I think it'll be nice and close in the first half, and I think you're just going to have like 3 back-to-back scores to finish the game. So because of that, I'm taking the highest scoring half is the second half. I think it's like minus 112 or something like that. But that's the only play I have in this game.
Awesome. I think that is gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited for a lot. The only game I honestly like, my kids got some stuff going on. I don't even really care to watch the Kansas City Houston game. I'm sure I will if I'm around and it's on, but like, who cares? Who cares at this point? Sorry, Chiefs fans, yet again. Let's get into player props.
You're not
sorry.
sorry. It's
I was
okay.
gonna say he's not sorry at all.
I'm not sorry. Screw Kansas City. I hope they lose for the rest of their lives. All right. Let's dive into these player props. Let's just go back and forth and take these down. We got a lot. Sorry for the small font. We got a lot of player props here. I'll kick us off. I got Amon-Ra St. Brown over 75.5 receiving yards. He came out this week and said there's another player. There were like 12 receivers drafted ahead of him in the NFL draft, and one of them was De'Ami Brown. And whenever he plays a receiver or a team that drafted someone above him as a receiver, he has a chip on his shoulder. And I think the Lions are going to be playing at home, running it up. 75.5 yards does not seem that crazy to me for Amon-Ra St. Brown here.
Did you try to add like some street language to this by throwing the H at the end of his raw?
The misspellings are everywhere. I think I had a W there for a second, but Mike, what do you got?
Did I catch a niner in there?
Yeah.
Amon-Ra is a very different story here. No, I'm going to go Jaden Daniels 2+ touchdowns at plus 100. I talked about what I expect from the Commanders already. With Brian Robinson being so rough the second half of the season, like they're not running the ball in the red zone like they were, especially in the 5 zone. They're not running the RPO anymore. He's dropping back and looking for somebody. And he's thrown for, it was 2+ touchdowns that I think in his last 6 games straight. So as bad as the secondary is, I'm just going to keep rolling on that trend at plus 100.
You're loving some Jaden Daniels this week. Stefan, what you got for your first player prop?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed laddering Isaiah Likely last week. I was talking, I think, off show. It was after the show. Oh, I was listening to Mike McClure on his DFS podcast, and he was talking about how with Zay Flowers being out, we might see Isaiah Likely more in like the slot, and that's exactly what we saw. And I could see that happen again. The line is still only 34.5 receiving yards. So not receptions. That would be crazy. So over 34.5 receiving yards, minus 110. I will also be laddering this yet again. Like I laddered it all the way up to like plus 50 last week at like plus 195, plus 210, something like that. So a lot of fun with this one. So let's go back to the well.
That's great. I think it likely will happen.
Yeah.
We will do. I'm going to go move on to Demarcus Robinson for the Rams, over 19.5 receiving yards. This man averages almost 30 yards a game. The Eagles are going to have their 2 top corners in Slay and DeJean on Puka Nacua and on Cooper Kupp. Demarcus Robinson is going to have to pick up some slack. I think he's going to exceed this number for sure.
Cooper DeJean and Cooper Kupp. That's got to be the first Cooper v. Cooper.
No, it'll be Quinion Mitchell.
Mitchell. And then DeJean plays the slot. So
yeah, he's slot nickel.
You guys suck. I wasn't happy about a Cooper v. Cooper.
Cooper?
Y'all are mean.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, that's what I got for Demarcus Robinson. What about you, Mike? What's your next one?
I'll hit 2 because I left one out. I'm doing another Jaden Daniels pick. I'm going over 234.5 passing yards at minus 110 for all the reasons I've already said. For my next one, let's go to Mark Andrews. Going anytime touchdown at plus 175. This dude has scored a touchdown in 7 straight games and 11 of his last 13. I'm taking this because Flowers is probably going to miss again, and it's hard to not take a bet when it's been trending that well at plus 175. So give me that one.
That's pretty great with their slot receiver out, him being a main red zone target. Stef, what about you? What you got next?
Yeah, this is a fun one. We're going to stick in that Ravens-Bills game. I'm going to take both quarterbacks in a little same-game parlay here. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen to each get 40-plus yards on the ground at plus 130.
Ooh, dude, I love all this plus money we're getting here.
And they both crushed this number last week. This is must-win football. Most obvious statement ever. We already talked about how this game is like one of the most exciting for a reason. We expect both teams to be playing at a high level. We like scoring in this game. So to me, it makes sense that both these guys get it done on the ground, as well as, we've got some of these passing touchdown props too for the receiver. So I just like this game an awful lot.
Eric, you said you love all this plus money. You know what I love? The fact that we have 4 games, and I think we have more picks than we've had all season.
On player props. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Like, this episode is definitely going long for a 4-game episode.
I'd say maybe there's a correlation to there being only one college football game. We can't bet player props in Colorado, so it's like, damn it, we have to figure this. We have to get our.
Also, a lot of overs, y'all. Speaking of overs, Josh Allen over 239.5 passing yards. I said it before. Baltimore secondary sucks, and Josh Allen is going to just be tossing this thing around the yard. I think that's how they're going to win the game. I think he might even have a 300-yard passing game. So that's what I think of Josh Allen this week.
When you say that, does that mean you're interested in possibly laddering it up to a 300?
You love ladders. Don't pressure me. I haven't decided.
I just you like this plus value. I know you're a sucker for the juice.
We will see. I definitely might be doing it when I head to the sports book. I might take like the most amount of yards they'll give me for Josh Allen with some ladders. I do think that's the one I would most likely ladder. Yes.
Likely? Nice.
Likely.
Nailed it.
Ladder. Mike, what you got?
I'll tag on to that. All the same reasons I'm taking Josh Allen to throw for 2+ touchdowns, minus 120.
Yeah,
nothing
parlay. I'd be more likely to parlay those together, Stef, than to ladder the yardage.
That'd be some nice juice too, though. Probably better than you'd get on a ladder.
Yeah, if I could do the 2+ touchdowns and the yardage over, I'd probably be more likely to do that. Stef, though, you have the only under, I think, of this entire show. That's not true. You have 2 unders, actually. You've picked the only 2 unders on the entire episode.
Well, that's because I'm a Renaissance man.
You're realistic. You're realistic.
You guys are over here trying to like reinvent the wheel. Surprisingly, that Josh Allen parlay only gets you plus 138. I was stalling.
Oh, that's
really?
Yeah, because it's correlated. I think because it's
correlated. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they manipulate the numbers there. So my under, Saquon Barkley has been freaking amazing. Yet they refuse to throw him the football, which really is unfortunate because he has shown in the past that he can catch the ball. Like, it is a skill he possesses, not
Except
one he
when
has
they
lost.
played Atlanta.
Sure, like that's fair. But throughout his career, he has been a very capable receiving back. I say this somewhat bitterly because I took him on the over receptions last week. But I'm playing him under a rush and receiving combo. So under 128.5, which is a huge number. And I just think it's unrealistic in a game of this magnitude. I think defenses are going to show up again. This is one that I'm kind of leaning that first half under anyway. So it is somewhat correlated. I do want to just kind of throw this out there. When we get to the playoffs, especially in the NFL, you will see the public put money more on like a Friday or even a Saturday, like not early on in the week. So another thing to know is that the public, like us, love overs. So
Love it.
if you want to bet overs, you want to go right now and bet these numbers. This Saquon Barkley number, I'm going to wait until 5 minutes before kickoff, and then I'm going to bet it because I guarantee you it'll be at 135 by then.
Oh, I bet so as well.
So for the show, it'll be 128, but just a tip. Like if you're on an under, wait till later in the week, especially on player props. If you're on an over, go ahead and place it as soon as you can.
Do it now. Mike, you have one more or two more for us?
Just one more. I will say I will probably be doing that same thing on the Puka Nacua under. I think his line's at like 98. If it gets to 100, I'm going under for sure. My last one's going to be Marquise Brown, over 39.5 receiving yards, minus 110. He's hit this number in every game since he's come back to play for the Chiefs. I've kind of already talked about how I expect the Chiefs to kind of be ready back in dynasty mode. So I don't see why that would stop here against the Texans. So yeah, over 39.5 at minus 110.
Awesome. Those are the props. Let's run this down. Don't forget to follow us and like everything on YouTube and the podcast, anywhere you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, hit all the good buttons. Also follow us on all of the socials. All right, let's run down our game picks. Mike, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, I'm going to start with a little parlay of the Eagles minus 2.5 with Kansas City team total over 20.5 at plus 103. Give me the Lions first half minus 6.5. That's wrong. Lions minus 6.5. I need to double check that number because I feel like it's all sorts of screwed up now. Yeah, that's right. My Lions minus 6.5 in the first half. Forgive me.
Yep.
And then we're going to go Ravens at Bills, highest scoring half in the second half at minus 115.
Awesome. Oh, you got the Eagles here too.
Oh, yeah. The Eagles minus 6. Hey, thanks.
I only have a few picks for you here. We'll take a Lions future, the Lions to win the NFC, taking that at plus 100 while the value is good. I'm going to take the Bills to win against the Ravens on the money line. And then I'm going to take the over 43.5 in the Eagles-Rams game.
Yeah, and I just got one play for the sides here. I'm going to take the Eagles, Rams under 21.5 points in the first half at minus 115.
Awesome. And for player props, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown over 75.5 receiving yards, Demarcus Robinson for the Rams over 19.5 receiving yards, and Josh Allen to throw for over 239.5 passing yards.
I'm going to take Jaden Daniels with 2+ passing touchdowns. Jaden Daniels also over 234.5 passing yards. Marquise Brown over 39.5 receiving yards. Mark Andrews anytime touchdown, and Josh Allen 2+ passing touchdowns.
All right, I'm going to take Isaiah Likely over 34.5 receiving yards. And yeah, we'll be laddering that. And then I've got a same game player prop parlay, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, each to get over 40 rushing yards. Get that at plus 130. And then finally, I'm going to go Saquon Barkley under 128.5 combined rushing and receiving yards.
Perfect. We will see y'all over at the college football episode. Let's go make some money.
See you.